This is a Glassbox Media podcast.
You guys.
Yeah.
So I am on the 3rd episode of Love is Blind.
I have not watched a single episode yet, and
Whoa.
I am dying at how intense everybody's reaction is.
It is
I have such FOMO.
wild. It is truly wild. Dude, all I'm going to say is this. Within the first week they're there, 2 couples get engaged.
Wow.
Well, but that's the goal of the show is to quote unquote get engaged.
Clearly
Like
why
you're
I
finding
should
your-
never be on that show because I'm like, what the fuck? Like you guys have literally
The first couple that gets engaged though is my favorite.
No, they're super cute. They
fucking
are cute.
great.
And they seem solid, like good for them. But I'm like, I'm immediately skeptical of like, what? You don't know each other. Like,
Yeah.
and they can be like, well, we do know each other because we didn't see each other. But I'm like, nah, dude, you've been talking for 3 dates and now you're engaged.
Apparently, there is a New York Times study where there are 36 questions that you can ask and discuss with your partner. And that at the end of those 36 questions, you hold eye contact, I think, for like 5 minutes. Straight eye contact.
I'm already
And
out.
scientifically,
Can't do it. 5
it's
minutes?
proved it's like the fall in love quiz.
Oh.
It's supposed to be like scientifically.
Okay, but here's the thing. Love feelings, like all that shit, like love feelings, the feelings of being loved, that shit doesn't last necessarily. Like that's not the thing that will make or break a marriage.
Absolutely.
So I'm just like,
Girl, I
I
can't
trust
wait.
you.
There's places this. Oh man,
I
There's
trust
one
them
girl
when they
that I'm
say that. Is it Jessica?
okay, that bitch crazy. First and
I
foremost.
did see
But
that
second
she
of all,
gave her
there's
dog
another girl.
wine. You can't do that.
Oh my god, that dog is like mom, 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 out of the wine glass.
Grapes are poisonous to dogs.
And
I saw
she
this
seems
meme
like
and I
the
was like,
type
what?
who would give her dog wine for
She
sure.
certainly does.
Yeah.
But once they get home and like the shit really comes together,
Oh.
Barnett,
Oh.
his pick,
Dude.
bitch is crazy with a capital
She
crazy.
showed.
Whoa.
She was showing her cards from the beginning. I'm just
Wait
like,
till
dude.
she meets the goddamn parents. Girl, you are gonna.
wait.
I was like,
I have
gotta
to start
turn this
watching this
off.
immediately,
No,
if not
I-
sooner.
I started it yesterday because I was like, I know I need to because so many people. There is a mega thread in our Facebook group right now
Right.
that I can't even look at
I
because
know.
it's a finale.
I know. I'm like spoilers.
Mega
I
thread.
can't go there
my
yet. I haven't watched the
God.
finale
So
yet.
I was like, I have to start watching this show so that we can talk about it. And y'all, it is.
You know
I
what?
can't stop watching it, but I rolled
Let's
my eyes
save
like
it.
8,000 times.
Let's save it. I have to watch the finale. You have to watch all of it. You
Yes.
have to finish
We'll
it.
finish it and have this discussion again.
Let's do a special Patreon episode.
Okay.
Just a whole Love is Blind wrap
Oh,
up.
cool. And
Sure.
we'll give it to everybody.
Yeah, $1 level. We'll do it
Yeah.
at the $1
yeah,
level.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
anyone
Okay.
who
That
wants
sounds
to
good.
Let's do it. That'll
Sign
be
up.
so fun.
We'll let you know before we put it up. So anybody who wants to sign up for Patreon for $1
Just for the month.
and just hear us go fucking off about this show because I guarantee you
It's
there's
gonna
so
be-
much to talk about. Whoa.
I got notes.
Yeah,
I got
no,
mental notes.
I know the brief like synopsis of the show, and I know like it's a lot of like moving to fast food. So I actually feel better because I thought I might be moving to fast food, but I was like, well, I'm not engaged in a week,
Yeah,
so
you're.
Oh my
I'm
God.
doing okay.
You're not 5 days in engaged to fast food.
Speaking of, though, I totally talked about you and Eric this week because guess who I saw?
Who?
Rachel.
Shut
Aw,
up.
yay.
Yeah. So I saw Rachel Esquivel from our Facebook group. For any of you guys who are on our Facebook group, I'm certain you have
my
seen
God,
her on
that
there.
night was so
So fun.
Yeah, we had
Wild.
dinner with her a few months ago.
Yeah, so I was in Chicago and the suburbs of Chicago, and she had messaged me on Facebook, and she was like, "Hey, you're in town or whatever," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm in this suburb, like named the like little suburb I was in. She's like, shut up. I live in that suburb. She was like, oh my God. So she picked me up at my hotel and we went to this little restaurant bar that was right by my hotel.
Nice.
It was so much fun. And so speaking of, she was like, I told her we were thinking about doing one of our double dates, possibly with the guys. We kind of, we've been shooting around that idea. She was like, oh my God, you guys should totally do it. She's like, Eric's this big mystery to us. And I was like, he's amazing.
Yeah.
So I told her all about you guys. And I'm like, oh, I'm so happy.
I should do an update. Yeah. Basically, since like we started dating and I was like, oh my God.
It's been amazing. It's been good. I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
It's been all awesome stuff. But at any rate, that was really cool to meet up with her while I was there. And it would just happen that I was literally staying at a hotel in her little I mean, Chicago's big, and there's all different sorts of sides of town. And, it can be a very geographically undesirable area as well. And to literally be like a mile up the road from where she lives, I was like, shut up. Yeah. That's crazy.
By the way, this is my worst date.
Yeah, it is.
I'm Christina.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Cassie. I wanted to talk about this New York Times article that this girl wrote. About
my God.
Coming home, like to work the day after the Super Bowl, and all her friends are like, hey, have you been on Facebook, Twitter, anything at all?
Everyone's bringing you
Anything
like donuts and coffee, and they're like, "Hi,
So how's
Lindsay. Lindsay, how are you doing? Or is everything good?
have you been on Facebook?
I actually think so. The New York Times article that you're referencing is the girl that woke up and saw that her ex was dating Lady Gaga.
My favorite.
She handled it so well.
The article is really good. My favorite thing that she said that one of the articles had said about them dating is Lady Gaga is out with a new best accessory for like summer 2020. A regular guy,
a regular dude,
Regular dude.
non-famous dude.
So wild.
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, I would like to say that I would be like super gracious and above it all if I found that out, but it would be tough. I think it would be tough.
I'll tell you what would make it easier. What may even make it, some would say, better. What if, go with me on this hypothetical.
Okay.
What if you dumped that dude and you're like,
Yeah.
you know that dude's like
Garbage.
not great.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, Lady Gaga's got my sloppy seconds.
So like,
That's
Lady Gaga slept with you.
Yeah, you are closer to that chain. That's pretty nice too.
You're like separated by one.
You're like,
One
I
degree.
didn't even want that dude.
The
It
funny
kind
thing
of gets
is
you
like
can go a little like cachet with it.
she was really, really on the
She
up
was-
and up in
she
the
was
article. It was
perfect.
It was perfect.
It was the reaction we all want to have.
Yeah,
So-
but you know what? I have
yeah.
a hard time believing that was her initial reaction.
No,
she
and I think
she
she's
kind
like,
of
I thought about it.
she kind of framed it like immediately. She was like, I'm deciding to look at it this way. And I'm like, girl, please, we don't need to act like you didn't go through a complete fucking tailspin
Yeah.
for a full day and a half before deciding to look at the silver lining.
Yeah, no, it's completely okay.
It would be such a mind fuck.
Yeah, I told you I would eat so much sag cake.
Oh God,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
dude, I would wish for the coronavirus to take me
Oh
in the initial moments after hearing that.
You know what? Who could you find out like who you're with now? Your significant other right now, you broke up, they started dating somebody famous. Who would be like the fucking absolute like I can't fucking believe.
For me,
I
or
would
for
just
them?
be like tailspin. For me, for you.
like for a
You'd
tailspin.
I feel like Mila Jovovich,
Mine
Really?
maybe, or Scarlett Johansson. That would make me.
I think that would make you furious.
I'd be like, are you what?
Because I thought you were going to say Charlize.
No, God, I would be like, bless up. You win.
If it was Charlize, you would just be like, in
God
fact, I'll
wanted it
sign
for
the
you.
divorce papers.
God wanted this for you
Today.
Yeah.
I don't even believe
I'm
that.
happy
God
for
gave,
you.
God gave you a gift.
Yeah, you take
gift.
that gift.
You've been blessed.
When God gives you Charlize.
Can you touch me just on the shoulder and rub some of that off on me?
Can you guys just invite me over for dinner? Can I sleep on your couch?
I would gladly sleep on that couch.
you
It's
know,
not like leather though. It gets stuck to it.
I do feel like for me it would be, and this is kind of like a weird take, it would be Jennifer Garner, only because Anthony talks about her like she like he would marry her.
She's a really good actress.
Yeah.
Yes, and not like, and so Anthony has the thing where if he thinks a actress is hot but he doesn't want to say that, he'll be like, she's a really good actress, and I'm like, bitch, I know she's not that good of an actress, so I know that you mean that you think that she's hot,
Right?
But it's like more than that. It's like a level above that with Jennifer Garner, where like if she paid him the proper amount of attention, I would be legit concerned about my relationship. Like I'd be like,
You'd be like, no, fucking no.
because he just thinks that she's so like great, and she is. She's like beautiful in an accessible way. She seems like a good wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first boyfriend had like Ashley Judd posters all over our place that we were staying at. So
Shared your space with Ashley Judd posters.
How old were you?
It was over our bed.
Okay.
Big photo of Ashley Judd.
Absolutely
I was
No.
18.
No, sorry.
18. He was 19. He loved Ashley Judd.
What would he do if you had like printed out a like shirtless picture of Mark Wahlberg and hung it up in your apartment?
I should have.
Right
you
next to
should have.
it. Right next to it on the bed.
Revenge poster.
We can both play this game.
That's
Oh
right.
man, that's brilliant.
And then all of your bedroom is just like decoupaged in like shirtless.
I think that for mine
just tit for tat. Everywhere.
Exactly, like male, female.
it would be like Psycho.
You're like, if you put up Pamela Anderson, I put up Channing Tatum. We can do this all day.
You're like,
Let's
I got
go.
posters for days.
I think mine would be Natalie Portman. I would be the most like threatened and bothered by that because she is
beautiful
so
and smart.
smart.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And I'd be like, oof, that would be a self-esteem hit for me, I think.
yeah. I mean, we've all done the thing too, where we're like, who are you with now? You know?
Yeah, of course. And I liked in the article that she was honest about that. It is a thing that everybody does. Like, it's human nature to be curious, you know?
Absolutely.
And it is also human nature. And I like that she took this in a positive way to see what that says about you. When your ex has moved on and they're dating someone else, I think inevitably you look at that person, you analyze that person, and you think like, God, am I like that person? Is that person like me? Because
Sure.
we ended up with the same person, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for me, like, I mean, yeah, it's rough to see your ex or somebody that you've been with for so long with someone new. And there is somewhat of a pressure, I think, to be like, oh, if they did it, then I should do it too. I'm really, really, really glad that I resisted that for 2 years, you know, just really kind of did my own thing and was single. Yeah, dating around.
Well, I think the media in, you know, romantic comedies and also like sitcom TV shows like Friends and stuff like that, I feel like it really pushes this narrative of like you have to win the breakup.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's like you have to be the person who is more successful with a better looking person after the breakup.
And social media like hammers that even more because
Right,
that's all life is on social media is our vacation pics and our filtered
Our highlights.
pics. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
The highlight reel of your life.
Again, all of that is totally normal. It's like human nature, but it can be super detrimental if you find yourself in a position where you feel like you're losing. You know?
yeah.
Oof.
Oh,
I can't imagine. Good for her.
right?
She's done well with it.
Good for everyone. I hope everyone's
For
happy.
you.
We should FMK, and I don't think that we've done this.
Oh, we had a good one come through on
The-
Facebook.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
girl, Laura Lee.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh, I was down for that.
Oh,
one.
I didn't see hers.
I want to kill them all.
80s. It was
80s rom-com leading men.
80s rom-com
Characters.
leading men.
So you've got, well, we
Lloyd-
don't, do you want to get into it now?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lloyd
So
Dobler.
there's Lloyd Dobler from Say Anything.
Oh, God.
There's Bender from Breakfast Club. And there's Jake Ryan from 16 Candles.
Ooh.
I know. It's not an easy decision.
Well, I have a favorite for sure already. I've always been
All
hard on
so
Bender.
problematic.
They're all so problematic. That's the problem. That is the
Spending
problem.
a lifetime with one of those douchebags?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like Bender, sure, I'll fuck Bender. He's like the bad guy who I
I'm gonna
like.
fuck him for sure.
That I like, loved, of course. Like all
Yeah.
of us fucking thought he was like the hottest
Yeah.
in whenever we first saw Breakfast Club.
Mm-hmm.
I actually know what I would do.
I think I know what I would do, too.
I think I know what I'm going to do too.
Yeah.
I am going to, this is going to be the hottest take.
I bet not.
I bet not.
I bet
yeah.
it's not.
I'm going to fuck 16 Candles.
Oh, Jake Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay, that is hot.
It is. Yeah, actually.
That's the most vanilla ass shit I've ever seen.
Well,
in
and
my
he's
life.
like a rapist. But okay.
Wait, what? Wait.
He's like a would-be rapist. Like when he in the movie, have you watched 16 Candles lately?
didn't. I never liked
is he the one that left the girl
Yeah.
in the room?
He like gave his girlfriend to Anthony Michael Hall, and he was like, "I've got her passed up in the bedroom. I could do her 6 ways till Sunday if I wanted to, but I'm so sensitive, and I'm thinking about Molly Ringwald, so
I
that
think
makes
I'm
me a
getting
nice guy."
Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles mixed up in my head.
Oh, you're thinking about yeah, I know. That would be a more acceptable answer.
That's way more acceptable answer. Yeah.
Jake Ryan's hot, and he's supposed to be the guy that you think is hot.
I
and
need
it's
to
not
look it up.
his fault that
Here,
he
I'll
was.
pull up the Facebook. She put the pictures.
Oh, good.
It's not his fault that he was written like that.
Yeah.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
And it was
Can't
the.
picture him in my head, though.
He's
I was
cute.
thinking of,
I know exactly who you're thinking of.
yeah.
Who was on coke through all of Pretty in Pink? Yeah, and you can tell.
yeah. Yeah. And I'm kind of like,
But if
that'll
we're
be fun.
if we're going Pretty in Pink, you got to go Ducky though.
Oh, God. Ducky.
Ducky.
Here they are.
Okay.
Okay, so that's Jake Ryan.
Up at the top. Nope. I was thinking of Pretty in Pink. 'Cause I was
Okay.
thinking the blue-eyed guy.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
He's
that Andrew McCarthy?
Yes.
so hot.
Yes, yes.
That's who I was thinking of. Okay. No, I'm going to kill that guy. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to fuck John Cusack. I've always had a little bit of a crush
Same,
on him,
same,
Okay.
even though Lloyd Dobler is...
Yeah.
He's kind of like, he's whiny, pushy, mansplainy,
Mhm.
kind of stalkery.
Yes.
Kinda.
Yeah, really
Fully,
stalkery,
yeah.
actually.
I mean, it trained us all improperly.
And you know what?
It did. It did.
I'm going to marry Bender.
Okay.
Do you
I
think
think
he'll
I can
grow up
change him.
into-
I think I think he'll grow up. I'm going to make the
Christina.
same mistake.
Yeah.
I think I can change him.
I think I can change him.
No. Okay, so I am gonna fuck Bender
Yep.
because you gotta. I just
Yeah,
think
that's
he's
a good fuck. He's a good
the
lay.
bad guy. He's the one who'll live. Did you guys see that thread? Oh my god, there was a thread on Twitter that was just like the best fuck of your life is gonna be some person who lives
yes.
in their mom's
Yes.
basement.
Yes.
Who plays Xbox.
Yep.
They're like, I'm sorry to tell you about it. And then everyone on Twitter was commenting their best fuck. And it was always just like, ugh, the grossest guy.
Right.
That's going to be Bender for you. Like, it's like, he's going to be like, you're going to think about that lay for the rest of your life. Even when you look back.
You're going to be 80 years old.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even whenever you're both 40 and now you're looking at him on Facebook and you're like, ugh, but you're like, still would.
Yeah. Yeah. That's some
Still would hit it.
Bridges of Madison County shit.
Yeah.
Like that kind of fucking where you're like, your grandkids find that diary. Yeah.
They're like, ooh,
Spicy.
steamy. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. I am going to kill Jake Ryan. My teenage self, the 80s were so fucked up in that, like, I got really into 80s rom-coms, Molly Ringwald movies whenever I was in high school.
Of course.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One of my favorite shirts was a 16 Candles shirt when I was in high school. I bought at Hot Topic, of course. And I loved him. And we were conditioned to love him. And then I watched it again like a couple of years ago and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Hold the phone.
This movie
Is problematic.
is real upsetting. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and kill him. And I am actually going to marry Lloyd Dobler.
Well-
because I feel like he could grow up.
So
Hot-
okay.
hottest-
all right.
hottest
all right.
take.
Okay.
I am right with you. That is exactly what I was going to do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
He's a really emotional, like 17-year-old.
Why is he gonna grow out of it and Bender's not?
Okay, listen.
Explain.
Bender is like fundamentally fucked up.
Bender is going to take over for his dad's garage someday.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He will get a beer gut,
Yes.
and he will have the kids getting his old Milwaukee's out of the fridge.
Absolutely. Yes. That's 100.
That's what you're growing
That's
into.
100. He comes home from the
does
garage. He takes off his shirt.
Lloyd Dobler is the one that gets on that fucking Ashley Madison site. He's a sneaky, weird fuck that needs constant validation and constant attention. So he's going to be that guy that gets on Ashley Madison or wakes up at like 3 and looks at weird porn,
But
like hentai
the
porn,
thing.
and jerks off.
I like weird porn, too.
Here's what I
It's
think
fine.
about
I do too.
Lloyd.
If I'm honest.
That movie is problematic as fuck. I'm with you. His behavior,
It's
not great.
nearly as problematic as 16 Candles.
Not
is to
nearly.
me.
But the way I look at Lloyd is I look at Lloyd like that whole summer was just a huge shame receipt.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I have fully wilding out acted
A fool.
like a crazy person.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever
It was my senior year of high school.
Yeah, like whenever you're a high schooler and you think that this is like the love of your life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you do some like insane shit. And that's
your eyes.
exactly. You wear a trench coat all summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I feel like that's a thing that like he's going to meet up with Ione Skye when they're both like 25 over coffee. And he's going to be like,
I'm sorry.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
And he just grew up and he became a normal guy.
He
Yeah.
went to college.
Yeah.
Smoked a little reef.
Yeah. Loosened up a little bit.
Loosened
Jazz
up.
cabbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had sex with a few girls and then felt
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
I'm solid 100% same. I hot take, have never liked 16 Candles. Even when I was younger, I was just like, this movie is not good. I never liked it. And it was so weird. And the whole character of the
Andy?
the Asian guy.
Oh,
that, like,
highly
I was like,
racist.
I fucking
Oh,
hated
shit.
that.
Oh, that movie is incredibly problematic
It was
on
so
every level,
awkward.
and all of the characters are unlikable. I think
Yeah.
that's the thing that is
There's
like
not one fucking likable person in that
right.
whole movie.
Her entire family forgets her birthday.
horrible.
Yeah, and then she's shitty about it. They make fun of poor Joan Cusack, who has a neck brace on the whole
I
time.
fucking love Joan Cusack
I love
so
Joan
much.
Cusack.
I
She's
will
the best
say
thing about the movie. I'm not
that
gonna
is
lie.
the highlight of the movie
highlight.
is when she's trying to drink from the water fountain. Just and she has a neck brace on.
So
Yeah,
funny.
but Bender has been on my hit list
He is hot.
for
Well, y'all are missing out on a fun time because we are just gonna be wilding out. We'll be that
Oh,
those
I'm gonna fuck
people
Bender.
that like sit on the porch. I'll drink Old Milwaukee too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Whenever you guys have the bonfire in the summer,
Oh, yeah.
we will come over.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I'm down with that for sure. Yeah. Me and Cassie were sister wives with Lloyd Dobler. We will.
Whatever. No
Awesome.
big deal.
Awesome.
You can wrangle all 12 of your kids. You guys can't afford
And
birth
all
control.
of their names end with Anne. It's like Marianne.
Diane.
Julianne.
Oh God. Oh, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Yes. And we're back. Okay, so I'm going to find new ways to say that every month for the rest of the
After
year.
these messages, we'll be right back.
I don't even know what that's from.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Excuse me, I have to go put on eye cream.
Be right back. I got a new neck cream.
Decolletage. What do you call that? Decollete. Oh
You
God.
guys, I feel like I'm going to get a turkey neck. I'm really freaking out about it.
I wasn't kidding. I literally did just buy a brand new neck cream.
I'm
Got great reviews,
worried.
so I'll
I'm
tell
worried
you all
about
about
it.
Yeah.
You know what?
Get
No, I'm worried about it. I've seen women in my family get it, and I
this the other day, and I was like,
It's so frightening to
I
me.
always think about that scene in Overboard. I don't know why this part always it pops into my brain. Is Goldie Hawn's mom in Overboard is like supposed to be this like older woman who's like super rich and super shallow, and she has like a little bitty paddle in one of the scenes, and she's just patting her under chin. And so I do that sometimes where I'm just like,
Oh my God. Does that work? I'm going
I
to
don't
literally
know.
sit at my
I
desk the
don't
whole
know.
time and do that.
It probably makes it worse, but I've been doing it since I was 12 because I
no.
watched that movie and I was just like, is that what rich people do to stay young? And then, have you ever seen that book of facial sizes that's
Yes.
supposed to like
You're like-
keep your face muscles super strong?
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I'm willing to do it. I am willing to do it. Okay. Anyway, so this is an email we received. The subject line is recovered memory bad date.
Uh-oh.
We do that to people.
We really do. Hey, ladies, I've written in once before and wasn't expecting to again, but I had a recovered memory while listening to Keegan's story on the latest episode. Totally naked, need to take a phone call guy. And he's like, oh, is my phone ringing? When he's completely nude. This happened my freshman year of college. I was very inexperienced. Like, I had kissed maybe 3 guys. I don't even think I'd made it to second base yet. Side note, do the kids still say first, second, third base? I'm old as shit now.
Kids these days.
Do they, though?
I don't know.
I think probably. It just probably means something different. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, the actual act to get into a relationship is so different these days.
If you are under the age of 18, which since John Morgan posted that thing to our Facebook, we know we have at least one 17-year-old listener.
Right.
So if you are under the age of 18, let us know. Write in and let us
need to
know if
do you do bases?
Do you do bases still? And if so, what do they mean so that we can analyze?
Yeah.
It goes without saying that I was also very naive. Most 18, 19-year-olds are, but I was extremely trusting and sheltered. Despite being raised by the internet, everything I knew about sex at this point came from Harry Potter fan fiction. What's up, Keegan? Honey, I know.
I actually have a recent experience with fan fiction. I'm not going to lie, no shade, but like my first porn experience was from reading porn.
Same.
And like it's always like been a go-to. I like reading porn.
Reading porn's good. Yeah.
Also, you don't have to see anybody getting exploited or taken advantage of on the internet.
Yeah, it's fully fantasy.
Correct. So, J.K. Rowling writes as Robert Galbraith and wrote the Cormoran Strike series that Cassie, you got me hooked
love
on.
them. They're so good.
And I was waiting for the last book, and I've wanted Robin and Cormoran to get together for like the longest time.
Yeah.
And so like I couldn't wait for the book to come out, so I looked for fan fiction.
You are hilarious.
I'm not
That
gonna...
is amazing.
It's by far the dorkiest thing I've ever done in my
amazing.
life.
I'm not gonna lie. I've definitely read Sirius Black fan fiction that is spicy.
Oh,
Okay. Yes. I'm not ashamed.
you did date Ron Weasley, so
I internet dated Ron Weasley, so basically
basically you're married.
I'm
Oh
in
my
that
God.
world. I hope this gets
Oh
back
my
to
God.
any member of that cast.
Killing me.
Anyway, I worked at a pizza place all through college. I worked with mostly guys in their mid-20s, most of whom were pretty nice and funny. But one night, while I was sweeping up, I overheard 2 of the delivery drivers talking. I'll call them Chad and Jake. Sorry to any cool Chads or Jakes out there. I'm sure you're not all fuckboys. Jake asked Chad, so, would you fuck S, my name? Chad said no. I found out later that Chad was fooling around with my underage friend at the time, so no big loss there. Chad asked Jake the same question, and Jake just kind of chuckled. I thought I had misheard the conversation because we played loud music at the pizza place and the oven was loud, so I didn't dwell on it too much. But a few weeks later, I got the classic "you up" text from Jake. It was probably 1 o'clock in the morning. That's too late. To
That's
send a
too late
text,
for a
gentlemen.
coworker.
No, that is not a friend text.
No.
That's not like a "you up? Can you help me finish this crossword?" text.
Yeah.
No.
I think around like 10 p.m. is when that starts to
Yeah.
cut over.
There's a
You're
cutoff.
cutting into fuckboy territory.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm not sure why I was still awake. Studying, had worked a late shift, insomnia, who knows. But I texted him back that yes, I was awake. I figured he just wanted to chat and I didn't mind. I had a little bit of a crush on him and we had a somewhat playful, sarcastic relationship at work. Dude looked like a supermarket brand Chris Pine, by the way.
Kirkland.
I live at Kirkland brand. Kroger. He was
Best foods.
best food. Oh man, I ate so many best food canned vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
All of them. Yep.
He was cute, but looking back, he was definitely not cute enough to get away with acting like a total chode. We texted back and forth for a few minutes, and then he hit me with, "Do you want to come over and watch a movie?"
At 1 a.m.?
Mm-hmm.
No, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Being the moron that I was at the time, I said sure.
Oh, it's porn.
Zoolander?
It's gonna be porn.
Is it going to be Zoolander?
It's gonna be
Talladega
porn.
Nights. Jake comes and picks me up from my dorm room. Once we arrive at his place, we head to his room and he puts on a movie. I can't remember which one. Of course you can't.
What is the movie that every guy tried to put on in the background to fuck you to while you were at 20? Mine was Zoolander,
Yeah,
which is why it came
Zoolander.
to me. I feel like that has been in the background of my sexual activity for
I
years.
had a Vanilla Sky moment.
Oh my god.
dark.
That is so dark.
You're not watching it.
I feel like it was like worse than Zoolander. Like I feel like it was like Grandma's
Corky
Boy or
Romano.
something.
Oh God!
Oh, I love
really
Grandma's
do.
Boy. I love that movie. It's so funny.
Or Beer Fest. It was like
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of those.
yeah.
It was like
Road
one
trip.
of those.
Oh God!
Oh,
Ugh.
okay.
Recovered
Flashbacks.
memories. Speaking of,
I know, right?
There was not Dazed and Confused. What's that other one that came out around the same time with like in the 90s where the two guys were trying to go to like a Kiss concert and their mom like wouldn't let them go?
Yes.
Yes.
Detroit Rock City.
Yes. Oh my God. The number of guys in like high school and just after high school who tried to like do shit with me
Also
when
Big
Detroit Rock
Lebowski.
City was on.
yeah,
Big Lebowski was a
Fuck,
big
man.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jake comes and picks me up from my from my dorm room. Once we arrive at his place, we head to his room and he puts on a movie. I can't remember which one. Let's just say it was Memento because he was a major.
Memento.
I don't want to fuck to Memento
That one
No.
too.
at all. God, Cassie, yours are so dark.
I'm not watching the movie.
No, I know it. But I feel like if you're putting on something that you're gonna ignore, it is like a fucking Anchorman. It's
no,
like
not for me.
something-
I'm already like I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm just quoting it.
That's
Nobody
funny.
wants to fuck somebody who's like quoting Anchorman.
That's just, can someone stitch that on a pillow for
Quoting
me?
quoting
Nobody wants to fuck someone who's quoting Anchorman. I want that in cross stitch.
Never
Merch.
truer words. It's like the Book of Cassie, 1285.
Aim for the bushes. I just watched the other guys the other day.
I watched the other guys for the first time the other day.
Oh my God,
When they
it's so
they jump
funny.
off the roof,
He's
it's
like,
hilarious.
aim for the bushes. There goes my hero.
I feel so bad for this person. We're just
You never did
destroying.
desk pop?
We're destroying her story right now. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
She said, let's just say it was Memento because he was a film major and that was his favorite movie.
Ugh.
Seriously, he talked about it all the fucking time at work. And hot take, it's not even that good.
Ooh, damn, girl. No, I get you. Ugh.
We're sitting on his bed with a few feet between us. He asks me if I'm dating anyone. I say no. He asks if I'm into hookups. I say, I don't really know because let's recap. I'm a virgin who, up until this point, had only gotten hot and bothered by reading M-rated Professor Lupin Tonks fanfiction. Like not even the two Harry Potter characters I would choose.
I fucking love this girl so much.
Me too.
Fucking perfect.
He asks, are you a virgin? I nod, embarrassed. He asked if I want to fool around. Like I said, I had a crush on him, so I said yes. We made out and dry humped a little, and the dude proceeds to take off all his clothes. He is fully naked while I am still fully clothed. Weird flex, but okay. We kept up the making out / dry humping combo, which also... Is it only like a half?
It's half
dry
dry.
humping. It's like a moist humping.
Ew, don't ever call it that. Ever
A
ever
damp
again.
humping.
No, stop it.
Well, because one person's nude and
Right.
the other is clothed.
I don't know why guys think that taking off their clothes will necessarily
This
lead
is
to
apparently a thing.
us taking off. Like, you want to get...
Are they just
It's
rolling the dice
so-
that you will take your clothes off, and then when you don't, they're like, "Well,
Well,
it's too embarrassing to put my
put
clothes back on."
I
so
think
I'm just
that
gonna
that's
keep
probably
going.
how it works.
Yeah.
You having all your clothes off and me having none means I'm getting no foreplay. That's what that means.
Yeah. That's...
That means you're just gonna hit it and quit it. and that'll be fast.
Also, like mushing on my pelvis doesn't get me off. I'm sorry.
No.
If you're a 17-year-old boy listening to this, mushing pelvises does not
Isn't
doing it. So
You're not getting it.
Oh.
Hate this.
mushing pelvises is also the name of the episode.
Ew.
It's so gross.
No, please don't.
So
Please
gross.
don't name
Also,
it that.
I have
No.
very sharp pelvic bones. I feel like
Yeah,
I
I'm
could
gonna
really
fucking cut
hurt
your
somebody.
dick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut your dick with
I
my
feel like
pelvic
it's
bone.
not safe.
It isn't
It's
safe.
not safe.
Oh my god.
But when it became clear to me that he wanted to have sex, I started to pull away because I wasn't ready. A guy had never even touched my boobs before tonight, so I was a little overwhelmed. He eventually realized this wasn't going to lead to sex and asked if I would at least give him a hand job so he wouldn't get
Wow.
blue balls.
Oh.
Side note, nation, to all the younger people listening to this podcast, blue balls is not real and you don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
Dude, I feel like we're giving such a PSA to our younger listeners today.
Yes, this
So-
is if you have to recommend this podcast to
Oh, maybe
don't,
actually.
we do have that explicit rating.
If you do know a young person, maybe tell them in kinder terms some of the advice we're giving today.
That's right.
Much kinder.
That's right. Yeah, because I remember living with that blue balls myth. That was just
Oh, yeah.
like, and feeling so guilty.
Oh yeah, guilted
Yeah.
into handies.
Dude, and I'll tell you that led
They have a
into
hand?
my 20s being really like insecure about if they didn't come.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Thinking that
100%,
there was
yeah.
something wrong with me or
Yep.
that I was doing something wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, owning your orgasm, that is like the best thing that I've ever done where I'm like, I'm in charge of how I get off and I'll let you know how to help and you're in charge of you getting off.
Yep.
So
Well, and
if
also,
you
it's
tell
like,
me what to do.
dude, don't you have a hand?
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, get yourself off if
Yeah.
it's that big a deal.
You know how to do
Exactly.
this. You've been
Yeah.
doing it longer.
That's exactly right. He made the concept of blue balls sound so horrible that I felt sorry for him. So I gave him an extremely dry, unskilled HJ. Look, not good for you either, sir. Was that good for you? He didn't come, and I felt like a failure.
Oh, babe,
Mm-hmm.
see, I just want to
Called it.
give her a hug.
And
I know the feeling.
And the attitude he gave me afterwards told me that he thought I was one too. Did I mention he didn't even try to return the favor or even
course
attempt
not.
to teach me how to do it the right way?
Nope.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah. He drove me back to my dorm as soon as the sun came up. He spent the next year being such a complete asshole to me at work, probably because he thought I would, quote, get attached since I was a virgin.
Ugh.
I never told anyone about what happened between us, not even my closest friends, because I was so embarrassed about how gullible I had been. I had just wanted to watch a movie with a cute guy, crying emoji. Eventually, Jake quit working at the pizza place and got a new job. We actually ended up living together with another roommate a couple of years later. He was still acting like a prick, but he had a girlfriend at that point, and I really needed a place to live, so I mostly just ignored him other than to give him my share of the utility bill. I was over my embarrassment at this point. I was just indifferent to him. He was basically a desk to me or a toaster.
Nice. Nice.
Then one day I was talking to my friend, Jay. Jay said she had gone out to the bars the night before with some friends, and Jake somehow ended up joining their group because rural college towns are the smallest in the world.
Yep.
Someone from a rural college town? You're right.
Yep.
At one point, Jay mentioned my name in conversation. Jake proceeds to interrupt her to say, "Oh, you know me and S had a thing, right?" Record scratch.
Wow. Okay.
What? As soon as Jay finishes telling me this, I spill the tea and we both end up laughing until we cry. That bad H day must have really made an impression on Jake for him to still be bringing it up 3 years later.
Wow.
I never spoke to Jake again after I
thing.
moved out of that roommate situation. Last I heard, he had moved to LA to pursue filmmaking.
Oh no.
Oh,
I
great.
probably fucked Jake.
So this is a warning. This is a warning to anyone dating in that area. Watch out for a dime store, Chris Pine looking motherfucker who wants to talk your ear off about Memento. He sucks. Christina, I'm glad you're off the market now. That means you're safe.
I did not. I did date a Jason whose favorite movie was something like Memento. It was like equally as film school-ish. So
I didn't hate Memento, but I do think that there's a certain number of movies that I'm like, if that's your favorite movie, that's a red flag. Memento, Fight Club. I'm like, if you're telling me...
Wait. What's wrong with Fight Club?
If we're talking about problematic movies,
fucking love Fight
Club. Fight Club is super problematic.
Don't care.
You asked what was wrong with it. I'm telling you. And if a guy tells me that his favorite movie is Fight Club, or he has a Fight Club poster anywhere on the premises, I'm concerned.
Well, that's juvenile.
Concerned.
Yeah.
Posters in general.
I don't know. I work for a studio, and people get posters and they hang them and they put them in their house or whatever.
Yeah, framed.
My favorite's Princess Bride. I don't think that's
fucking love Princess Bride.
That's my favorite movie.
I love that movie.
I can watch it I watch it when I'm sick, actually.
Well, we all know that mine is Anna Green Gables, so.
Yep. Okay. So mine is from a fan. I'm not quite sure if he wants us to say his name. So this is from Jay. I'll ask, and if it's not okay, you just heard a beep. So he says, "Hey, love you three. Keep up the good work. You make lives better." Aw, that's sweet.
Thank you. I've had a really hard week and that makes me feel better.
I have, dude. Day 13. So, anyways. So let me set the scene. It is the summer of 2009 and I have been dating this woman. Let's call her R to protect her identity for about a month. Hold on. Let me backtrack so you get just how crazy this whole situation is and how ignorant young people can be. So I met R on Plenty of Fish.
Well, there it is.
There it is. There we go.
Yeah, we can stop the story now, actually. I think we know how this is going to end.
A few months after I got back into the dating scene, after my ex left me for the Florida lottery sales rep she worked with.
No.
That's a lot to bump.
I have to say, I think you dodged a bullet. I think that you're better off. A Florida lottery sales.
I have so many Florida man headlines going in my head.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you read that again? What did he do?
No, I'm confused.
He met R on Plenty of Fish a few months after I got back into the dating scene after my ex left me for the Florida lottery sales rep.
Okay, what the fuck does that mean? You're a Florida lottery sales rep.
I guess that they probably have different tickets that they sell to like different vendors. So like if you're a gas station, maybe they sell different types of ticket or like scratch offs or different types of
Scratcher salesman.
Well, yeah, that's a career.
I was addicted to scratchers for like a month when I was 17 and I worked at a grocery store.
They are fun.
Did you win any money?
I mean, no, I kept like taking them because I was bored behind the counter and then I'd have to like pay for them somehow. And then one day I just stopped paying.
You're nobody dealing scratchers.
I just stopped scratching.
Oh my
Listen. We've all found creative ways to kind of sort of steal from our jobs.
Kind of cope.
Everyone has done it.
This was before you could just fuck around on your phone.
Everyone
so I just
has
had to
done
stand there.
Oh my God. After I'm not willing to put it on the podcast, but after this episode is over, let me tell you about some shady ass shit I did.
Oh no.
I will tell you about it. Okay. Anyway.
Come get me, bro. You don't know where I worked.
Right, seriously. How can you prove it? The statute of limitations is up on those lottery tickets.
And I also didn't win. So whoever won from me, you're welcome because I scratched off like 100 of those. You
scratched all the bad ones. You scratched all the non-winning tickets.
You're like, this isn't a good batch.
Yeah. So R and I started talking. She lived about 25 minutes away. I didn't have many standards at that age. She, like most men, don't.
Like most people don't at that age.
I
my
know.
Standards were
you like me.
Yes, my standards were you like me. This is great.
Question mark? She's pretty cute from her pictures, so I'm down. She said in her profile and through our conversations that she was 30. As a man who's always liked older women, they know exactly what they want in bed and in life. My interest continues to grow. Well, hey.
Someone who's almost 30, let me tell you, that's not true. That's not true at all. We don't have our shit together.
After about a week of chatting, we decide to get together. She invites me to come by her place to pick her up so we can get dinner and drinks. I think this is great, and I'm even nervous. To take the edge off, I have a beer before our date. I was worried she would smell beer on my breath and judge me, but boy, was I wrong. When I arrived around 7 p.m., she was balls deep into what must have been her 5th Jaeger bomb. Yo,
See,
I'm all the. You can't pregame with Jaeger bomb. Jaeger bomb's the finish line.
That's right.
Jaeger bombs when you're already blacked out and you don't care about what you're consuming.
Jaeger bomb is mile 26, man.
Jaeger bombs aren't even good. Like, do you like Jaeger bombs?
No.
Cassie?
No,
Oh, okay.
they're
good.
terrible.
Whoa, it's
No,
horrible.
They taste like black licorice.
Oh.
Yeah. I took one. The last
Ugh.
one I took was in Adobe Gila's.
Oh my God.
And you remember that fucking bar. And I took it and literally immediately like threw up in my mouth.
Oh, shit.
Caught it and swallowed it again.
Oh.
It was the fucking worst. And ever since then, I can't even smell Jaeger.
Oh.
Can't even. It was the worst. I was so drunk at that point.
5.
Oh.
Okay, all right. If I met a man, let's construct a man that I'm like, nope, gonna crab walk out of this.
Yep.
It would be if I went to your house and you couldn't stop talking about Fight Club and you had just taken 5 Jaeger bombs.
Well, you're in danger.
I'm in danger.
At that point. That is a
I'm
dangerous
like, oh.
situation.
Oh no. And then you start talking to me about how there's no
only movie worse. I got you one worse. American Psycho.
Oh no.
You're definitely in danger.
Yeah, I'll take 10 Fight Clubs over one American
Psycho.
I'll take 10 Fight Clubs.
Yeah, they start talking to you about conspiracy theories. They're like, actually, I don't believe in outer space. And you're like,
Have you seen my my business card? Feel this? You feel the weight on this?
Feel the weight on that.
Oh my God.
It's embossed.
Keep in mind, this girl is 5'3" and weighs maybe 100 pounds. So 5 Jaeger bombs on a tiny person.
No.
Cool. She likes to have a good time. I can handle this.
No, you can't, sir.
No, he's like 21. That's why he thinks that. Like, because.
Run.
Nope. She also lied about her age. She was actually 36.
Ooh.
Not that I cared, but that sort of lie. She has a son only 8 years younger than me.
Oh, no.
I can't do math quickly in my head. So
you cannot lie about your age when you have a child that is telling your age.
That is very close in age. Close-ish. Close enough to be uncomfortable.
Close enough.
Yeah. Needless to say, we go out. She's all about it, and she gets drunk as hell and keeps throwing herself at me while we're at the bar. Being young and thinking with my wrong head, I end up staying with her that night and having a fairly decent experience. But
I met a girl while I was working background who she did look young, like younger.
Yeah.
She looked like we were probably about the same age. I would have probably put her in her late 20s. She was 40 or 41.
Mm-hmm.
She looked young. And she asked me my opinion about whether or not she should start lying about her age on dating apps. Because she was like...
You're like, funny you should ask. I have a dating
Yeah, I told her that. I was like, well, let me tell you the God's honest truth.
Mm-hmm.
But I understood why she felt that way, because she was like, I don't really get along with men my age. And when younger men see my age, they don't want to go out with me.
yeah.
And I typically hang with people who are younger. And I'm like, I understand and I empathize with you, but you're putting yourself and the other person in a really awkward situation by not being upfront. Because you look how you look, you're not lying about that. So
Also, added pressure. This sucks, and this is just biology.
Yeah,
but
babies.
Yep. So say you do meet a younger guy who's like 33, who's all about it.
Wants to have kids.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that it's impossible. It's just really, really hard.
Yeah,
so
it's harder.
It's awkward. I get where she's coming from. I definitely had that age thing where I was like, I got a real tight window because yeah. So, oh, that's a rough one. So fast forward a month or so. I'm still coming around a decent amount because I am dumb and like getting laid. Her 15-year-old child and his lady friend want to go to the local amusement park, so I agree to drive them, and R decides she wants to make it a whole thing where all of us go. So a few days later, I show up before the sun rises so we can all get going for our day at the park. She wants to stop at the liquor store on the way so she can have a drink before we arrive to the park.
Holy shit.
Now, we've done this. We've taken Yetis.
Right.
we have, but not before sunrise.
Not before sunrise.
I feel like there's a line.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the morning. It's the sun. The sun is the line. This is, little did I know that a drink equaled an entire bottle of Jaeger. It is also important to remember there's a couple of middle school kids with us. This just got real dangerous and sad.
It is sad because I always think like I used to watch episodes of like Intervention, and it was interesting to me when you watched the like alcohol ones, like what their alcohol of choice was.
Yeah.
And
I always found it was vodka. I feel like I always got those ones.
Yeah, vodka or beer. It was like vodka or beer. Like it'd be like, I can drink 24 beers in a day. And you're like, wow. But like a Jaeger is such a weirdly specific liquor of choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, oh my God. And thinking about drinking it in general just like makes me like, but drinking at like 8 a.m.
A whole bottle at 8 a.m.
That really like, oh,
when you have to do stuff,
hurl like bacon and eggs. Ugh. Needless to say, when we arrived to the park, she was hammered. We agree that the kids go do their thing for a while and we adults will go off on our own. It's a good thing because then the kids didn't have to deal with her that when she's blacked out at 10 a.m. Yo, dude, this is crazy. We walk around the park for a bit and I want to ride rides, but she can hardly stand.
Jesus.
So I decided it's best to just go sit down while we wait for the kids. Well, things got worse. Around the time I get to the meeting place, security comes up to us and states she's got to go.
Whoa.
Lucky for me, I haven't had any alcohol and can talk them down, so we're not kicked out.
So she's drunk enough that security notices.
Yeah. She doesn't
she
cause
can't even,
anything. She's just literally like, she's Justin Timberlake
she's not
drunk.
she's not like, making a scene or anything. She
Right.
just is so drunk that they're like, you can't be this visibly drunk at the park.
Right.
Like that is yikes.
It's still before noon. At this
Yikes,
point.
y'all.
It's
Man.
so sad.
I feel so bad
I feel
for the
so
kids.
bad for the kids. Exactly.
Yeah.
The kids finally show up and I get them all out of the park. And this is when things go way south. She starts cursing and yelling at her son, blaming him for everything that has gone wrong, even though he hadn't done anything wrong. What do you do? This person, he's known her for like a month. He's like a 23-year-old.
You probably don't feel secure
in the middle.
enough
Oh my
to
God.
step
up
in.
or step in.
Yeah. Yeah. It breaks my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, anonymous call to Child Protective Services or something. I don't know. I start to drive back towards her place while she flails and throws a fit because she isn't drunk. While going north on the interstate and listening to her spew hate, she reaches over and turns off my car while I'm going 65 on the interstate with children in the car. I didn't even know you could do that.
I don't think you can in my car. I don't think you can in my car. I don't know if like maybe different models or older cars. Like
you gotta
could do
pull
that.
the fuck over.
911.
Yeah, I mean they're lucky they didn't die.
This fucking bitch.
They're lucky they didn't die. And I'm also heartbroken for the son and the son's friend because like we all remember it's so embarrassing. And then you have to go to like school.
Yeah.
And they're like it's God,
so
awful.
levels. I just feel bad for like everybody in this story. Literally, my heart is breaking. Now I'm getting angry because I'm worried about the welfare of the kids in the car. I try to keep my cool and turn my car back on, and with a bit more anger in my voice, tell her stop acting like an idiot. Well, that didn't work. Now she's furious and hitting and slamming things in the car.
Okay, you need to call somebody at this point. Like legit, you have to call someone.
Yeah.
Because it's unsafe. It's unsafe for everybody.
I tell her if she touched my keys again, I'm going to call the police and have her taken away. She continued to talk nasty towards her child, but seemed to believe me about calling the cops, so she didn't turn off the car again. Because I'm worried about her kids, I decided it's best to take everyone to her parents' house instead of back to her place.
Yeah.
Wonder how he knew where her parents live, but
I don't know. That's a smart move.
Yeah. At this point, I just want to get the hell out of Dodge, but I have to make sure the kids are safe first.
Good, ma'am.
It's important to know I have never met her parents before, and now I'm falling on the sword. Oh my God.
Maybe he asked the son where
Yeah.
where else they could go.
When I pull into her parents' driveway, she hops out of the car and takes off. I gathered at this point this isn't the first time someone had to get her parents involved. The kids safely get out of the car and I deliver them to the grandparents. Of course, I have to explain to them what happened, and man, did I feel like a garbage person, which is so
Why?
sad because
it's not you that
You
should
did
feel like
everything
garbage.
that you could do.
You're doing the right thing.
yeah.
I hung out with the mom for about an hour while her dad went searching for her. After what felt like a lifetime, I see her and her dad heading back to the house. I take this as my cue to bounce, apologize to the kids and mom. I mouth sorry to the dad and half wave to R as I'm quickly buckling up so I can get out of there. Needless to say, that was the end of the social experiment for me. I have no idea where she is this day, and I hope she got the help she needed.
Wow.
That is so scary.
That is so frightening.
yeah.
Like, I've only been in one situation that felt like really unsafe, but other than that, like when you're dating, it's scary enough, but to be like in what is a life-threatening situation,
And
oh my
it's
god,
not just you, and you feel responsible for other
My
people.
God, yeah.
Like, you know.
Like you kids in the car. Oh my God. Like that's
and then to have to deal with that at 23 years old.
Right. Yeah. You have to be the adult in the room. Yeah.
oh, that's tragic. I hate it. Okay, well, fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I get
Wild
to follow
ride.
that story. I'm going to try to read fast because I feel like
No, we're good.
we're good. Okay, good. All right. So this story comes from our email, and it says, subject just says first time. Please have Cassie read. So that
Aw.
me says, hello, ladies. I absolutely love your podcast. If you choose to read this horrible tale on the air, please have Cassie read it. I don't know why. I just really, really love her voice, which
Aw.
I'm concerned that maybe you have me confused with somebody else. Like do you think Christina is me? Or, 'cause
No.
You got so excited
I did.
You did.
whenever I told you this because I
Yeah.
started reading it, you know, because we go
Just swap.
yeah, and we have a pattern to it. And so it was like my turn to get the new story. So I put it in mine and I was reading it. And then I saw that line and I moved it to yours. And I told you last weekend, I was like, I moved a story to your inbox because she said she loved your voice and she wanted you to read it.
Which is wild, and I'm still not certain that she's made the right choice. She reminds me of the documentary voice of David Attenborough, and his
Who-
voice is magical.
His voice.
I'm certain.
I love this for you.
I'm certain.
Me too.
It's not me.
I love this journey for you.
I
Like
love
in
this-
Schitt's Creek.
Yeah,
She's like,
I really
I love this journey for you.
They both have this amazing ability to just calm my mind down. Well, this is great because I'm going to start a new podcast where I just do ASMR list reading.
Yeah, we had this conversation. We did. So anyone who listened to our double date, Cassie and Madigan are going to start an ASMR podcast where they just read lists.
Just list.
Just
I'm
lists.
going to list cereal for you. Do you like Rice Krispies?
Nice. I can get down on that.
Captain Crunch.
Sorry. Okay. If you ever get some free time, please make a podcast just telling facts about blue-footed boobies and howler monkeys and let me know where to listen.
Well, that's
There we go.
we're
Like, just
going
get
to
so
make
fun.
that happen.
I think we should.
Yeah.
I would drift to sleep so wonderfully.
That's
Listen.
why honestly, that's why I watched Planet Earth, as I was just like, I just want some beautiful cinematography.
Yep.
And David Attenborough's like
Absolutely.
lovely voice,
Listen.
calming, soothing. I'm going to make some tea.
So far, I completely disagree. However, I am going to take it.
Take the win.
Also, please speak up more. Oh, okay. As the only mom on the podcast, I would love for you to throw in your viewpoints more. There are so many single parents out there, and even though I'm not single now, I was, and it's horrible trying to date with 3 young kids.
Yeah, girl. You gotta let him know how it was.
Yeah. Well, I think you're lucky because I think last week and this week I've talked a lot about having a kid. It's a whole different world out there when you have your children, and it's, oh God, nothing is truer than that. That may also enter the relationship dynamic at some point. Trying to decide who and when or if these strangers get to meet your kids is completely nerve-wracking. Girl, preach.
Yeah,
No, it's true.
We don't get a lot of single parent stories. We've read a
Yeah.
few over the past year, and it's incredibly awkward. It was awkward for me to just decide whether or not I should swipe on somebody that had kids.
Yeah.
Because I take it as a huge responsibility. And I mean, it's like a whole thing. Like, do I want to take that on? But that's...
We should have my mom write in, because between my dad, my biological dad, and my stepdad, she dated somebody who was like a mess. And I'm sure she looks back now and is like, what was I thinking? Because he used to take us around like without her there. And then I think he ended up getting arrested for like credit card fraud or something. So
Amazing.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow. God, no.
And she's she's like a great
she's
mom.
amazing.
It's just like when you're dating and, you know.
It's definitely harder to navigate that road. It's one thing when it's just yourself on the line and it's just your heart on the line.
Right.
And your safety. Yeah.
And your safety, exactly.
Because people can trick you.
Absolutely. Oh my God. When you have not just your heart on the line, but your heart, the heart of your children, them falling possibly in love with this person, liking this person, whatever, that's one aspect of it. But again, the safety issue. I mean, it's just a lot. It's just an extra level.
I don't trust, like we were talking about like Love is Blind, and I'm like, it takes me so much to like trust anybody. I can't even imagine. Like, I barely trust anyone with my own heart. Like, thinking about being like,
Amen.
I would just be single forever, I think, because I'd be like, well, I'm too scared of... I'm too scared to like, get back out.
You're like, I guess until they turn 18.
So kudos to everybody who's out there doing it.
All right. So she says, now on to my tale. So I am from the Midwest, like BFE heartland, from the town around 5,000. Oh my God. Are you me? I did not rate this in.
Yeah, suspect. It's all that nice stuff about your voice at the top.
She's like, who can I say I sound like? David Attenborough.
Perfect. I like it. I met a guy I shall call Hillbilly.
Great.
Okay, cool.
No, wait. Call Hillbilly Wannabe. Sorry. I started laughing too soon. Hillbilly Wannabe. While working at one of the few places that will hire a 15-year-old. I was the last of my friends to lose my V card, and I was desperate and not all that picky. Though a bit young. Yes, I was. But someone finally showed interest in me, so I was game. We went on a few dates. This all sounds so far.
It's such a Midwest small town like mindset of just being like, this is fine.
It's exactly right.
Yeah. It's time.
She said we went on a few dates, in quotes, eating together at work and walking around town, because there's absolutely nothing for teenagers to do in a small town.
Yeah.
Feel that.
Except for drugs.
We used to walk to the dollar store.
Oh, yeah.
Dollar General.
Every small town in America. Just a Dollar General. Field, Dollar General.
Yes.
I let it be known to him I was DTF, and he seemed pretty excited about it, but not as excited as me, because I hadn't done it before.
I bet he was excited.
Yeah, I bet he was. He's like, this honey.
She's like, I will fuck you. He's like, what?
Yeah, right. Okay. Oh. This is where it got tricky. Where and when. We lived in separate towns and not old enough to drive, so after begging for a few older friends, I finally made it to his town one Friday night. Now, you can all picture this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It was 1999, and he had long brown hair with bleached stripes.
No.
Shaved underneath, but long on top.
Oh, God, no.
Thankfully, this was before man buns were a
like
thing.
Stout beer.
We both were wearing Jinko pants with a
Oh.
wallet on a chain. I swear to God, did I write this in?
no.
I did date this guy.
No.
Swear to God.
right now.
Did he drink Jaeger? I feel like it's too much.
Oh my God.
What was his favorite movie?
Oh my God, the chain wallet. Oh, girl.
Jinko jeans.
The
Yes.
long hair.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
You know this guy. We all know this guy.
Yes.
His hair
we
was greasy
do.
for
Oh,
sure.
fur.
God.
Sure. You could see his scalp on the
just wanna
top.
wash my hand.
He walked us to the river across where people meet to go tubing, a wooded area where we had set up a tent. Trees.
Are you trying to get killed by the Zodiac? What are you doing? Stop that.
Trees are still better than cornfields, so I didn't mind too much. So we get to it. It was awkward, to say the least.
Yeah.
He couldn't figure out the condom. But he said he'd done this before. It was slightly uncomfortable, but not painful, and was over pretty damn quick. I just remember thinking, that's what everybody's been talking about? I don't get it. So
That's how I felt the first time too. I was just like, is this
me too.
What the?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So after he spent that whole 3 minutes in the tent, yes, a tent, Keegan, not a bed, not even an air mattress in the tent.
On the like hard floor. And also like, I just feel like you probably spent more time putting that tent up than actually fucking. Like
yeah.
the amount of time it took you. You guys got there and then you just did the whole thing where you're like, do you have the right end? Do we need to switch ends? Do you have the hammer? Do you have
That's
a little hammer?
not a turn on for me to build
a tent and then fuck for 3 seconds and then take it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I lost mine on a concrete park bench.
We
in the
discussed
wood.
that and I don't approve.
We don't like this for you.
Yeah.
I don't like that journey for you, Christina.
No, I don't either. I'd give anything to go back and change it, but oh God.
We walked back to his house and I left him to go walk and find my friends to go home. He ghosted me after. I was okay with it though because
you
apparently...
ghosted me?
Okay.
Jinko jeans.
They both
3
were
minute,
wearing...
doesn't know how to work a condom. You ghosted me?
To be fair, they both were wearing Jinko jeans.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair. And chain
We
wallets.
all were at 99.
We all were.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah, you were like, what, 10?
Speak for yourself. 9.
Could you imagine 9-year-old Keegan with Jinko jeans and a chain wallet?
No, I was too busy wearing like pink bandanas and pedal pushers.
I swear to God, this was a solid me in 1999.
Yes.
This is solidly me. Okay, sorry. He goes to me. I was okay with it though, because apparently I was the only quote non-slut in my group because sex was boring and pointless. The next week,
It's a good way to look at that.
Yeah. The next week went back to work because teenagers only work on the weekends. And this is where my story becomes the worst story of my life. Hillbilly Wannabe told everyone there that I had bled all over his shoes and he had given me the nickname Bloody Carp. I went home sick that day. Now this is where I got seriously confused. I know it makes me fucking furious. I hate this. I had no evidence of blood on me that night. None on the toilet paper, none in my underwear.
And even
if I
if
had
you
blood
had,
That's somebody that was insecure in their
That's right.
own performance and so got
Right.
ahead of
yes,
the story and was like, he wanted
beat
to
her
flip
to the
it.
punch,
Yep.
so that she couldn't get there and be like, he didn't know how to use a condom and lasted for 3 fucking minutes.
Exactly. Yes.
Girl, this is your revenge.
But it was her first time. It's not like she would have thought. I mean, for me, my first time, it's not like I would have been like pissed that somebody lasted 3 minutes because I didn't really know like what it was supposed to be anyway.
Right.
So it's not like I'm gonna go spread rumors about you, dude. Calm down.
What a piece of shit. If I had blood enough to get it all over his shoes, wouldn't I also have had blood on me somewhere? Thankfully, he was fired along with his friends at work, and a new group of people were hired and trained, and I hadn't heard the nickname, so I was able to move on. After a few months, I met a new guy who was 19 and too old to be hitting on a 15-year-old. I know that now.
Yeah.
But then it was just exciting to be noticed. I eventually agreed to do the deed again, and holy fucking shit, the dude had an elephant trunk in his pants.
Oh, Jesus.
I screamed from pain and bled like a stuck pig. The difference was that this guy was nice about it and asked me like 80 times if I was sure I wasn't a virgin. He never made me feel gross, which I think is why I was able to get over my nickname and go on to enjoy sex. Turns out I was the biggest slut in my group. Still not ashamed of that.
Nice.
Orgasms are like the tops. Yes, girl, they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have never told anybody that story before, and I still want to cry whenever I hear someone talking about fishing or catching carps.
Oh,
Girl,
triggered.
At least she had a good like next person to like kind of clean up or bandage some of those like
Yeah.
fuck boy wounds, you know?
Yeah.
I feel better finally telling someone my story. Thank you for deciding to do a podcast and letting women and men know that they aren't alone in this world with all the creeps and assholes, girl. Oh, and I found out a few years ago, Hillbilly Wannabe ended up getting addicted to meth. Ugh. And last I knew, he was a self-taught tattoo artist giving tattoos to people in the basement.
no.
Dude,
I know
follow.
so many people.
I follow Instagram like bad tattoos. Oh my God, dude. It is.
It's a thing that happens where I'm from. So many. She might be from where I'm from because, like, first of all,
She might be where I'm from.
First of all, math, and second of all,
Same.
like the basement tattoos. Huge. I know a ton of people who have fucking basement tattoos.
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
wrong leg.
Oh.
Basement tattoo.
There you go. That's
You're
that
all
is the
18 once,
Midwest. Yeah, exactly.
She said, maybe being ghosted is a blessing in disguise. Have a great week, ladies.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God, dude. That was
a journey.
Wild.
We went on that ride. My God.
When it comes to personal style, it's not just about having a signature look. There are layers to deciding what to wear. It could be all about bold patterns that stand out in a crowd, accentuating your gains, or finding something sleek yet comfortable. With Indochino, fall is the perfect time to add a few new layers to your wardrobe. They offer custom made-to-measure pieces at an off-the-rack price. And this season, Indochino has new colors, fabrics, and styles to choose from. From classic suits for special occasions to head-turning outerwear for your sidewalk stride. Customize your new fall pieces however you want. Buttons, vents, pockets, lapels, you name it, they'll build it. Just submit your measurements online or book a showroom appointment to work with an Indochino expert style guide in person. Add fresh layers to your fall style with Indochino. Go to Indochino.com and use code PODCAST to get 10% off any purchase of $3.99 or more. That's 10% off at INDOCHINO.com, promo code PODCAST.
Okay, are you guys ready to go on this ride with me?
Yes.
So
I'm
today,
excited.
me too. So today we are going to be talking about Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner.
Yes. Yes.
All right, let's jump in. I'm going to start by saying, like,
Are you going to do a Christopher Walken impression? I'm
I
only staying
cannot.
here.
I cannot, but I will say I spent some time Googling young Christopher Walken pictures, and I will say, one, kind of hot.
Yeah.
Super hot.
Feeling weird
actually.
about that.
Yeah.
Two, feeling extra weird that so many people have put side by sides of young Christopher Walken next to Scarlett Johansson, and they kind of look alike.
Oh.
And I am
Oh.
freaked out by that.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I'll show you.
I
after
walked
this.
around with this hunk of metal up my ass.
He's amazing and I love him. But so I got a lot of information from a lot of different sources. I read so many fucking articles because of course there are a million about this, but also I binged listened because I had a super busy week this week, but yesterday, all day today, I'm almost done with the entire first series of Fatal Voyage. So they've done 3 seasons, and the first season was on Natalie Wood.
Okay.
Like all on Natalie
Oh.
Wood. And
Oh,
then they did a
shit.
season on Diana, and now they're doing one on JFK Jr., I think.
Oh, wow.
But so the episodes are really short. They're like 22, 25 minutes.
Uh-huh.
So I listened to like, there's probably 12 of them, and I've listened to like 9.5.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
and then I read a bunch of articles. So let's get into it. Okay. So Natalie Wood, she was actually born Natalia Zakharenko in San Francisco in 1938 to Russian immigrant parents. So her family was pretty poor. They didn't have a lot of money. And her mother, Maria, had always had aspirations of being an actress or a ballet dancer. But because they were kind of like always on the move and didn't have a lot of money, that just didn't happen for her. So before Natalie was born, Maria went and saw a fortune teller. This is the like lore around Natalie Wood.
Yeah.
And her sister Lana backs this up, that her mother went and saw a fortune teller, and the fortune teller told her that one of her children would die by drowning. And so she, being the excellent mother that she is, told her daughters this constantly growing up. So Natalie Wood had aquaphobia. She was super, super scared of water, to the point that whenever she was even filming a scene in a bathtub, she had to be talked into it because she was so scared of water. And
Dude, if someone told me that today, like a stranger,
Yeah.
not even my mother, was like, hey, a psychic just told me that you were going to die in water, I'd be like, I'm never touching water
Never again.
Yeah.
I'm so like, it's so scary to me.
And Maria herself was so scared of it that she never learned how to swim either. Like they both avoided water, and Natalie Wood never learned how to swim because she just didn't want to be near water. And Lana talks about how like, I had the opposite reaction where like I went and learned how to swim because I'm like, that's the best way to avoid drowning.
True.
Is
Yeah.
like to know how to swim.
Yeah.
But her mother was a piece of work. Like she was incredibly controlling and fame hungry. And she would take Natalie, who she called Natasha, she would take her to film sets. And once, while the family was living in Santa Rosa, California, Natalie and her mom were watching a shoot when a director needed a little girl to just basically like walk across the street with an ice cream cone. Like he was like, I want to add this to the opening credits of this or whatever. And so he saw Natalie and he asked Natalie, like, can you do it? Or he asked her mother when she was 4, like, can she do this? And of course she was like, yes, she can.
Yep, absolutely.
Pushed her in there. And so she did it. And then a year later, he remembered her. She was so good that he remembered her when he was filming a movie in Los Angeles. And so he called Maria and asked if Natalie could come screen test. And before she'd even gotten the role, Maria got so excited that she uprooted the entire family and moved everyone to the Valley.
Oh, Jesus.
She's like, we're moving to LA.
She's
Natalie,
like, our meal ticket has arrived.
it's gonna be a star.
Emptive, but you know, hey, you got a vision board. That's one way to do it.
Yeah, well, and I think she just knew, like, yeah, she was going to be the meal ticket. She was like, this is our, like, shoot your shot. Here we go.
Yeah.
So, once, so she started working in movies, and she was an immediate success, in part because her mom really instilled this perfectionism in her and also this desire to please.
Oh, yeah.
So it didn't matter what they asked her to do on set. She would do it. And like it creeped people out. Like I think Orson Welles or somebody had commented about how she was like scarily professional at like a very young age. And it's because of that. Like for instance, while filming a movie, Natalie was having trouble crying on cue. And so her mom took her aside, called her over, caught a butterfly and ripped it up in front of her face. And she started sobbing. It worked. She started crying. Oh. And so throughout the rest of her career, she hated crying on screen because of the lengths that her mother would make her go through. Because her mother's motto, she said, was like, say yes and figure it out later. Which is kind of my motto.
Yeah.
Or was whenever I was like auditioning actively. It was like, say yes and figure it out later. So it's not necessarily a bad motto, but it put her in some really fucked up situations.
Yeah, especially that young.
Yeah. There was also a time when Natalie was on set and she had to walk across a bridge over a river for a scene in the movie The Green Promise. And the special effects person had made an error and it caused the bridge to collapse earlier than it should have. And Natalie fell into the river and she almost drowned and she damaged her wrist, but she finished the scene because like that's how it was. And so she went to her mom after this and she showed her mom her wrist and it was fucked up. And her mom was like, okay, yeah, you hurt your wrist, but don't tell anybody because they might fire you from this movie. Don't make a fuss. Don't make trouble. Finish the day. We'll deal with it at home. So they went home and it healed, but it healed incorrectly. And you can actually see in pictures throughout the rest of her life, she always wore a big cuff on her wrist. And in a couple of pictures, you can see the cuff slips and you can see her bone protruding because of the way that her wrist healed. And so it not only did that, which made her feel deeply insecure, but also it reinforced her fear of drowning and her fear of water. Yeah. So by the time she was 9 years old, she was considered one of the top child stars in Hollywood and was named the most exciting juvenile motion picture star of the year by Parents Magazine. And by the time her childhood was over, she had starred in over 20 films.
What childhood?
Yeah,
Right,
exactly. She was basically raised on studio lots. She did all of her schooling there. And she later described the first time she ever laid eyes on Robert Wagner. She said, I was 10 and he was 18 when I first saw him walking down the hall at 20th Century Fox. I turned to my mother and said, I'm going to marry him.
Dude, this family has some serious like vision.
They can manifest.
They can
Yes.
manifest.
Yes.
Exactly.
They're nailing it.
Yeah.
Crushing it. So when Natalie was 16, she went to an audition at the Chateau Marmont, and her sister Lana actually describes this in that podcast. She talks about this happening. She said that her and her mother drove Natalie to her audition and that they let her go up on her own, and she was gone for hours, like so long that Lana fell asleep. And when she woke up, Natalie had gotten back into the car and she was a mess. She was really upset. And basically they found out later there was like an argument between Natalie and her mom on the drive back home. And what Lana found out later was that she had been raped violently, pretty brutally and violently. And to this day, a lot of the rumors are that it was Kirk Douglas who raped her, but we don't really know because she never actually said who it was. They just said that it was a incredibly powerful actor and a big star.
Oh my God.
So we don't know who she had this audition with, but this happened to her when she was 16.
Jesus Christ.
And her mother basically was like, you can't say anything or it will ruin your career, which, you know, they interviewed a bunch of Hollywood historians and it's true. It would have probably ruined her career. But for a 16-year-old, you had this horrible thing happen to you and also you're not getting support.
Yeah, you have no safe place.
Right.
Like when you get hurt, and that's reinforced now twice at least from these examples.
Right.
Like of falling in the river and just be like, you don't have your mother, you don't have your safe place.
Right. You can't go to her.
Yeah.
Right. And like I'm saying all these things or I'm talking about her just because I want to set up like the kind of person that she was, the kind of childhood that she had. It was like, you don't stand a chance really. You know what I mean? Like whenever you're experiencing things like this. And so I kind of believe, just my hypothesis is that event kind of led her into this next kind of phase. Because right after that, when she was 16, she auditioned for Rebel Without a Cause. And when she went into audition, she met Nicholas Ray, who was the director, and he was 43 at the time that she was 16. And a lot of articles that you'll read,
She's looking for someone to protect her.
And I also think that it was this kind of thing of her trying to take her sexuality back, her being like, well, fuck it, then I get to make the decisions now. Because a lot of historians or like a lot of articles you'll read will say like one of them, the headline upset me because the headline was like how Natalie Wood seduced her way into Rebel Without a Cause.
Wow.
And I was like, she was 16 and he was 43.
Yeah. So yeah, it was all him.
Right. And they phrase it like it was this affair, which I don't like, but at the same time, in as much as it can be a 16-year-old's idea, it does seem like it was something that she was pushing for. And I think it was partially because she wanted to kind of, because she became more promiscuous after this point. And I think it was, she had something taken from her.
Yeah.
You know, and I think this happens a lot. People expect victims of rape to behave one way. And never like sex or never want to do it again. When I know a lot of victims of sexual assault who actually went the other direction.
Yep.
Because it made them feel like they were making the choices about their body.
There's no wrong or right way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and shame on Nicholas Ray for being the adult in this situation.
Yeah.
Like, that's the truth.
Because
Because
I think
even
that Christina has a point too, where it's like when you're in that situation, you're looking for like, I just want somebody to save me. And if I'm attached to this adult male, he will protect me from other people. Nobody else will mess with me. You know?
and she's also been trained to do anything to get roles too. Like her mom has basically like conditioned her to the point where like even after she started this quote unquote affair with him, he still didn't give her the part. Because he thought she was too clean cut. She was too much of a childhood actress. So she was also sleeping with Dennis Hopper at the time. And the two of them like went out, had like a crazy night together and wrecked a car. And Nicholas Ray came and saw her in the hospital. And the doctor told him that she was a juvenile delinquent. And so then she was like, can I have the part now? Like you clearly. Yeah. Like he just called me a juvenile delinquent. So I'm not as clear cut as you like think I am. Clean cut. So yeah, they ended up casting her. It was a huge success. She got her very first Oscar nomination after that point, her first of 3 Oscar nominations that she would have before the age of 25.
Wow.
She was the youngest ever to have that many up until like Saoirse Ronan or Jennifer Lawrence. One of the two broke her record, but yeah.
Wow.
So the next year, when she was 17, she again met Robert Wagner, whom she called RJ. Pretty much everyone called him RJ, even in like news articles and things you'll see, at a photo shoot. And she was super taken with him immediately. And her mother saw potential. Her mother was such a Kris Jenner. Like she saw potential for this like golden
Power couple.
couple, media sensation.
Right.
And she was like, I'm all about it. So on Natalie's 18th birthday, her mom and studio execs arranged for them to go on a date.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about Robert Wagner really quickly. So he was enamored with fame and the old studio system from the beginning. Like in all of his memoirs, he talks about how he wanted to be famous. There's like this anecdote about how when he was young and he like walked out of a movie and he like found a dog and there were people taking his picture, and he loved that, being like surrounded by that like light and all that attention, because there are people who want to be actors for all kinds of reasons.
Sure.
And I feel like it's almost looked down upon to just be like, I just want to be famous.
Yeah.
But
that's
I think-
what a lot of people really just want.
yeah, and I think he just wanted to be famous, and he wanted to be a movie star. Like that was his goal. And he was very, by all accounts, charming and really good at climbing that social ladder. He was very good about like mimicking what you wanted back at you. He was kind of good at that emotional manipulation. And so he was able to climb that Hollywood social ladder. That's how he moved up, was like making friends in high places. And so many people speculate that in the beginning, when they suggested this kind of like matching of him and Natalie Wood, that in that beginning it was kind of transactional for him.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can get something out of this by being attached to this hot young star. I mean, after Rebel Without a Cause, Time called her the most beautiful teenager in the world. So she was massive at this point, and it was good for his career at that point.
Sure.
And now later on, it seems like
You want the word teenager attached to you.
yeah.
That's not weird. It's cool.
It's fine. Later on, it does seem like by the time they got married, it does seem as though there was real affection there. Like they actually did really love each other. I do think she probably loved him more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they become an item, and it is a huge sensation. Like they're basically like the Jennifer Aniston,
Brad Pitt
of that time, where everyone's rooting for you. You know,
Yeah.
they're like Hollywood's couple next door. So it wasn't long before RJ proposed, and the two got married when she was 19 and he was 27. And in the beginning, it seemed as though they were like genuinely really, really happy. And Natalie was really, really excited to be a wife and mother. That's like all she wanted. She's like, I want to have kids. That's my life's goal, is
Yeah.
to have kids. But it wasn't long before things started to get pretty rocky. Natalie's career was at its absolute peak when RJ's kind of hit a lull, like at the same time in the beginning of their marriage.
Oh, there's going to be some like Star is Born bullshit.
Yes, some real bad like ego issues. Being attached to one of Hollywood's hottest ladies at first was really good for him. But now they're married. It's not helping his career the way he thought it would help his career. And she is making more money and she is more successful.
And it's the 50s and that shit's
Yeah, it's
not
the
okay.
early 60s. Yeah. So, or no, late 50s. I think you're right. So it's around this time, early in their marriage, that Natalie was cast in Splendor in the Grass alongside Warren Beatty. And Warren and Natalie had this like incredible chemistry on screen and soon became friends. And RJ became insanely jealous of their friendship at this time. And he would oftentimes show up to set to check on Natalie. And once he even admitted in his own memoir that he was so jealous that he followed Warren Beatty home in his car with a gun.
Wow.
With the thought that he would shoot Warren Beatty.
Wow.
He didn't do it. He didn't even confront Warren Beatty, but that's the level of like insecurity and jealousy.
Wow.
And I think part of it was love for Natalie, and I think part of it was fear of losing her, you know, because she meant status and other things to him. So he later said that he never believed that she ever cheated on him, but it was just the idea that she could, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. So as you can imagine, this did not make for a very happy time between Natalie and RJ.
He sounds like so much fun, though. I don't know.
But Hollywood, it was still, even though we were outside of those old studio days, it still operated very much in kind of the same way, in that they would plan all of these photo shoots and in their house to show their like happy domestic life, and like really emphasize how perfect they were. And in the podcast, they actually read excerpts from the memoir she was writing when she died, which is actually really beautifully written. And she talks about how difficult that was for her, because it was like things weren't good, but how do you tell people
you're an actress,
they're not good,
I guess,
it's difficult. And so she started getting really into therapy.
Did they release her autobiography?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so, because I don't think she finished it, but maybe they released what was done. I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. You can hear the woman who does the voice for the podcast when they're reading her memoir does a pretty good job. And I'm sure she had help writing it, but the writing isn't good.
You are at a point where you have to make a change, I think, when you start playing a character in your own life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Such a good point.
Where it's just like, I mean, I have a fake it till you make it kind of personality anyways, but when you're doing that 100% of the time,
that's right,
in your life, you need to take a look at it.
Yeah. And kudos to her for recognizing that, because this was like the early 60s. She's in her early 20s and she's realizing like, I need support. So she started going to therapy, and she started pushing Robert to go to therapy with her, but he had that very old school, machismo Midwest mentality of like, we work out our problems ourselves, or you just fucking bury them and wait for them to go away.
You just bury that deep down and never bring it back up again.
It gives you a heart attack when you're 63.
Exactly. You die and no one can figure out why, and it's because you buried 65 years worth of shit deep in your chest cavity.
Deep.
So she made an appointment for them anyway to go basically to couples counseling. But they never made it to couples counseling. So Lana describes seeing Natalie barge into their parents' home late one night. And the way she describes it, it's interesting because you always look at your older sibling, especially if your older sibling is Natalie fucking Wood, as this kind of mythical being who is perfect. And she was like, I had never seen her like this. She was a hot mess, like fucking bawling, hysterical. They mentioned that she was bleeding, but I'm like, they never elaborate on that. So I'm not sure what that was. But she was basically saying that she had gotten into a fight with RJ and that it was over between them. And later on, according to a lot of like Hollywood insiders, and also Lana says that Natalie told her that the relationship was over because she woke up one night and RJ wasn't in bed with her, so she went to go see if she could find him, and she found him in the living room with their male housekeeper. Together.
Okay.
And she was hurt because this was a part of her. It wasn't just the infidelity. It was also like, this was a part of this person that I thought I knew that they weren't sharing with me. Like, and it felt
betrayal.
like
I know all too well what that feels like, because it's like, if you're upfront, look, I do not care like what kind of things people are into, but like, you hide something of your personality like that for somebody that you're married to for years.
It makes you wonder if you know them. Yeah,
exactly.
Because you're just like, we've had
Question
so many
everything.
conversations. We've talked about everything, and this is never something that you felt safe enough to talk to me about.
Yeah,
and
it's
like
so painful.
Yeah. And so she was devastated. She was truly devastated. She was in her early 20s, and this was really hard. So they separated in 1961 after 4 years of marriage, and divorced the following year. And by all accounts, she seemed to like move on okay. She was going to therapy. Her therapist was like helping her. But then she began to date Warren Beatty.
Oh no.
Like right after that. And the two had like a really tumultuous relationship. So they dated for a couple of years, but it was like they were fighting all the time. They were just like
Warren
yelling
Beatty
at each
went
other.
through like everyone in Hollywood,
And
right?
that was part of the problem.
Yeah.
Was like he wanted to be free.
Has he been with Annette Bening for like ever now?
Yes, he has now.
Those two have been together for a long time.
Yeah. They're cute now. But yeah, I mean, but for Natalie, she's just like, man, and I heard multiple sources, like a huge part of why they didn't get along was that he could never show up on time.
Oh, I
And
get
she's
that.
like-
I definitely understand that.
I don't like that.
She was a punctual person. She's like, motherfucker.
There are little things though that
Yeah.
get under your
She's like,
skin.
deal breaker.
You're like, I can't do this.
Deal breaker.
All
She's
right.
like, you know what? At least RJ was on time.
Mine is soaking in quotes the dishes overnight.
I do.
I just
mean,
like,
it depends on what it is.
I'm
You
just gonna
have
let
to
that
wa-
soak.
No, just wash it right then. It drives me nuts.
No, there's certain things that do need to soak. I'm sorry.
I
If you got
agree.
shit stuck like on a pan,
I
you gotta
agree.
let that
Did you
soapy
scramble
water.
some eggs and it's stuck on the bottom of the pan?
You gotta let that
Gotta
sit for
Wash
like a
the
bit.
dishes.
It's worse to try to scrub it off. I am meticulous about my dishes. I am
You are. You're good.
I'm not.
annoyingly
I'm not
so.
good. So I'm like, nah, fuck them dishes. I don't give a fuck. But so at this point, she started throwing parties. You know, she started wearing less and going out more. This was like her free moment where she was just like, I am going to date and fuck everybody. And people did think that she was kind of like a slut. Like in one article I read, they were like, it was said that she had kissed 45 guys before she turned 30. And I was like, okay.
Oh my god!
no.
Don't look at my list.
I know, right?
Jesus.
In 1963, RJ remarried actress Marion Marshall. And then after a breakup with Warren, Natalie's mental health kind of like spiraled and went on the decline. And she was trying desperately to hold on. And she describes these like moments. And it was around this time that she overdosed intentionally on sleeping pills and had to have her stomach pumped. And she had to have her stomach pumped a few times, like in her adult life, because she was, you know, look at her childhood. Man, it's trauma.
yeah, and then she wanted to be a wife and mother, and you're talking about somebody that's going into their late 20s, early 30s now, and it's not necessarily like going to be like shutting the door on that, but it's difficult. I remember 25 was like a big fucking
25 was hard for
hellish
me.
year for me.
Life crisis
Because
all the way.
you don't realize all the fucking expectations that you've put on yourself as a kid. So like 25, what it actually was looked so vastly different than
What
what
you
I thought it was going
yeah.
to be, that it was like a fucking earthquake.
I will say, as someone
Same.
who is standing on the precipice of 30, I was far more freaked out about 25 than I feel right now
Yeah.
about like
30 was
turning 30.
great.
Like I want to go into my 30s feeling good, but I'm not scared. And like turning 25 had me like
Shook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely same.
And that she probably is in her mid 20s right
Yeah.
now, or
Yeah.
going into her mid 20s. Her relationship with Warren Beatty has now fallen apart. RJ has remarried. You know, it's hard. And some people
was it
say,
Lady Gaga?
was it Lady Gaga? Some people say that like what sent her into a tailspin was seeing Warren Beatty at a party or something after they'd broken up, or you know,
No.
And when her sister asked her, she didn't go into details, but she's just like, I love somebody who doesn't love me back, and that could mean anybody, but
Sure. Right.
you know. So she took a step. Again, I have to give her kudos throughout this story because like she recognized that like her mental health was fucked, and she'd been working since she was 4, and she took a step back from acting for the first time. She was just like, I'm not going to act.
She's like, Mama needs a break.
Yeah, Mama needs a break. I need to focus on my mental health. And that's basically what she said in not so many words. When people would ask her where she was like, I was focusing on me. Like, I was working on myself.
Good job.
Nice.
So much so that she turned down the leading role in Bonnie and Clyde in 1967, co-starring Warren Beatty, because she didn't want to be away from her therapist for that long. She would have had to have been apart from her therapist.
Also, working with your ex,
Yeah.
underrated.
Probably best.
Would not recommend. Yeah. In 1969, she met and married Richard Gregson, and they had a daughter, Natasha, together the following year. And in 1971, when Natalie was pregnant with their second child, she overheard a phone conversation between Richard and his secretary
Jesus.
while she was pregnant with their kid.
Oh my god.
And she immediately kicked them out of her house because he had moved into her house when they got
bye,
married.
bitch.
And she's like, this is my house.
Yeah.
She called security, had them escort him out of the house while she's
Bye.
pregnant.
Yeah.
She's like, bye. Yeah.
Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord's
Well,
let you,
yeah.
Okay.
to make you talk then, because I've never been pregnant, and Keegan, you've never been pregnant.
to make me talk.
Yes. So things annoy me now and I am not pregnant, I'm going to guess that if I ever did become pregnant, things that annoy me,
Turn it up to 11.
Turn it
Yeah.
up to 11,
This one goes
422.
all the way to 11.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it totally. I think that, I mean, being pregnant, it's different for everybody. So, I mean, but you're more hormonal. So, I mean, you're definitely amped up, and I mean, betrayal at any stage of your life sucks, but being betrayed at a place where you're pregnant
And you're vulnerable. Yeah.
you're vulnerable. You're about to have a child, which is scary. And then you're also flash forwarding in your brain, like, who's going to want to date me now that I have children and I'm single and I now have children?
And I can also say, I've
weird.
seen pictures of Richard Gregson, and he was the reacher in that relationship.
Oh,
There you
By
go.
far. Okay, I'll show you a picture after this because I was like, you should not be cheating on Natalie Wood. What are you doing?
He must be funny.
He must be funny.
He better
So,
be very, very funny.
Be funny.
The next year, she runs into RJ at an event, and the two hit it off immediately. So it's strange how their timelines kind of coincide, because when she was going through her divorce, she wasn't completely divorced yet. She was separated. He had just gotten divorced. So it was kind of like fate or whatever. So the two dated for 6 months before remarrying on their yacht, the Splendor. And everyone in Hollywood seemed to think that these two had an incredibly fantastic marriage. Natalie wrote in her memoirs about how happy she was that they met again and that they met at the right time. But Lana states that she felt like Natalie was settling, and that she says that when she reunited with RJ, she told Lana, because Lana was like, "What are you doing?" And she told her, "Well, it's better to be with the devil you know than the devil you don't." And she also says that she mentioned to Natalie and her mom what had happened at the end. Lana mentioned to them, like, well, what about this thing that happened at the end of your marriage the first time? And her mom butted in and was like, "It's okay. He's been cured."
I don't like that.
Problematic. Not good.
Yeah.
And also, like, her mom was really pushing this relationship because she saw how good it was for them the first time. Like, it's like, oh, the public is going to be ecstatic that you guys are back together. And, like, that's good for publicity.
Yeah,
basically.
she's not a Kris Jenner. She's like a fucking Lindsay Lohan's mom.
Yeah, it's
She's
aggressive.
like, what's that, Dance Moms?
Yeah. Seriously.
So at the time of their second marriage, the tables had kind of turned. So even though Natalie still had most of the money, she actually paid off all of Robert's debts before the marriage. Yeah, she was a multimillionaire at this point, but her career was going through a bit of a slump, and she had just taken off time to focus on motherhood. Like, she had made that decision, like, I'm having kids, I don't want to work. But what happened then was, by the time she wanted to get back into work, now she's in her 30s. She's not getting roles.
In 60s Hollywood, they're like...
Sorry about you.
We can't play grandmothers yet. But
Yeah, exactly. You're in no man's land. Yeah, so this is in the early 70s. And RJ was now a big TV star. So
Right.
while TV star is still below movie star, he was a household name now. Like, he was working all the time, and he was kind of like a big deal. That was until Natalie booked a role in a sci-fi movie called Brainstorm, and it was set to be her comeback. The director was an exciting up-and-comer, and the film starred a young Christopher Walken, who was hot shit straight off of his Oscar win for Deer Hunter. And history basically repeated itself. So Natalie and Walken got on really well. They really liked being in each other's company. And once again, RJ got really, really jealous. His wife was this big movie star again, and he was just this TV actor, and it made him feel
Small.
insecure. It made him feel small. And so he was really jealous of their relationship. He would show up on set without any notice. And for the record, it's really unlikely that anything happened between the two of them. Walken's wife was there all the time, and by all accounts, like, nothing actually romantic happened. But
Right.
it didn't. He was so insecure that it made other people really uncomfortable. Like, he would make really snide remarks. Like, they'd be like, so she'd be like, where should we go for dinner? And he'd be like, well, you're the big movie star, you decide. Like, things like that, you know, where it's like, oh, everyone in the room is like, oh, I'm just gonna go home.
Oh my God. Dude.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Passive aggressive is just the least hot ever.
It's my
Yeah.
least favorite aggressive.
yeah.
I
of the
prefer
aggressives.
I prefer an aggressive myself.
Yeah, and so not only is he jealous of Natalie, but he's also probably jealous of Christopher Walken. Like Christopher Walken is this movie star, this Oscar winner, this kind of like dark, brooding, and interesting person, and he's always been this like teeny bopper, cookie cutter, like square jawed dude, you know. So Thanksgiving weekend, 1981, the Wagners host Thanksgiving, and then they have plans to sail to Catalina Island with Christopher Walken to have a little getaway like throughout that weekend. So the only ones on the boat were the three of them and the boat captain, Dennis Davern. So what we know is that on the evening of November 28th, Robert and Natalie could be heard arguing. Robert even admitted that he had argued with his wife about how much time she was spending away from the family to police like later on in the future. But then he changed his story in his memoir, in Heart to Heart with Robert Wagner. It's the name of his fucking memoir. He says, and he has 2 memoirs, by the way.
Thanks, I hate it.
And he says that in his memoir, he says that he and Walken were having a heated political discussion and that Natalie just went to bed that night. So we do know that Walken went to bed early and Davern and Wagner stayed up drinking. And around 1:30 a.m., Wagner tells Davern that he's going to go down and check on Natalie. And when he returns, he says that he can't find her. And Davern searches as well, and they're unable to find Natalie. So they contacted, RJ decided, not the Coast Guard, not the lifeguard on duty, but the restaurant manager on shore who got the harbor master to look for Natalie. So they looked for 4 hours before calling the Coast Guard. Yeah. And after hours of searching, they did locate Natalie's body at 8 a.m. on November 29th, 1 mile away from the boat with a small inflatable dinghy nearby. She was wearing socks, a coat, and her nightdress, and she was covered in bruises and had an abrasion on her cheek. So RJ refused to identify the body and left the island. The guard who pulled her body out said she had not yet gone into rigor mortis. So when he took her rings off, she was still they was still pliable. Ooh. So there is this kind of belief that had they got people searching for her sooner, that they could have found her before she actually died. And Dennis Davern, who was the captain, is the one who identified her body and it wasn't like a short jaunt, like RJ was like, no, I'm not going to identify her body. Send Dennis. Dennis had to go like 1.5 miles by boat to her to identify her. And he left the island without seeing his wife again, which people grieve in different ways. And I understand that. And so I don't want to judge that because I do feel like you could not want to see her like that. Mm-hmm. But I also feel like I would want to, because there'd be
it's such a strange situation. You're like, wait, is this real? Because the story
I'd want to see
they're
it to make
saying
it real.
Is that she got into the dinghy and like
the story
went off.
The story that we'll get to it. Okay, hold on. It's weird. I had to write this in a really weird way because I'll write it the way it was reported and then the way that the story changed. So Wagner's hypothesis was that Natalie went to bed that night without him, and the dinghy was banging against the side of the boat. So she decided to get up and go tie the dinghy closer to the boat so that it would stop banging because it was keeping her awake. And when she did that, there was algae covering the steps, and she slipped and hit her cheek, which is why she has that abrasion on her cheek, and fell into the water.
I feel like that's a lot of story for something that you don't actually know.
Yeah.
Also, if you're afraid of water, like I don't think that you'd be bending over precariously to fuck around with shit on the boat.
No, you'd go to the captain or whatever.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. So Lana said that she would never have done that because she was terrified of water. And then her friends were like, she would have asked Dennis. Her and Dennis were good friends, the captain of their boat, to go do it for her.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, why would she have gone and done it herself? But the coroner ruled her death to be an accidental drowning and hypothermia. And he basically says exactly that. He's like, her injuries are consistent with her having slipped and hit her cheek trying to get into the dinghy or like tie the dinghy up. And he goes out of his way. It's actually really annoying to hear him on the, like, you can hear his audio, and it's annoying to hear him say that Well, she probably had 7 or 8 glasses of wine.
Okay, I have another question. She has a dinghy with her?
It was found kind of nearby. It wasn't like right by her, but I have a theory.
Okay.
I'll give at the end. But she had also taken motion sickness. So they tried to justify it by being like she'd had 7 or 8 glasses of wine, which everyone did. And the captain was basically like, yeah, that's what we did. I'd been their captain for a long time. Before we'd go out for the weekend, we would buy cases of wine
Sure.
and we would just fucking roll through that shit. Christopher Walken had a shit ton of wine too. But she had also taken motion sickness pills and sleeping pills, which enhanced the effects of the alcohol.
Sure.
So they're saying that maybe she was like clumsy, fell and hit her face. Okay. So that was it.
But she fell with a dinghy.
Right. Somehow she loosened it and it
I mean,
sailed away.
Dinghies are inflatable things.
Yes.
She could have been inside of.
Well, but that fits with her having been alive for hours. So maybe she was clinging to it. Maybe she fell out of it. She got too cold. Like, because
Hypothermia,
she was
you said.
alive. If she hadn't set into rigor mortis yet.
That's true.
Yeah,
She-
then she didn't. She was alive when she left the boat.
Right.
Yeah,
She may have
wasn't
been
dead.
knocked out. Maybe she woke up at sea. That's kind of how I feel. Like maybe she was knocked out, woke up at sea, doesn't know how to swim.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How terrifying.
Terrifying. In November, it's cold, it's dark. Yeah. You have a fear of water. But that was it. That was it. It was declared an accidental drowning. She was buried in LA and the world was heartbroken, but life went on until in March of 2000, the boat's captain began revealing information regarding that night that he had previously kept quiet about. He said that Walken and Wood had been close and giggly in a friendly way all weekend and that tensions were rising. The night before Natalie went missing, the vibe on the boat was so bad. Tensions were so bad. And Robert Wagner was getting aggressive and jealous to the point that Natalie went to him and was like, take me ashore, get me off this boat.
And
So-
he said, here's this dinghy bitch. Backhand threw her in.
No, so this is the
Nope.
night before that. So the night before that, Dennis he takes Natalie, they go ashore, they get hotel rooms at a hotel. Christopher Walken and Robert Wagner stay on the boat alone for the evening. Kind of weird, only
That's
because
super awkward.
it's-
It's got to
why
like
would
Walken
Walken
have
want to stay?
Exactly.
I'd
I
be
was
like,
just going to
"Please get me
say
out of here."
Yeah. Why would he want to stay? It is a
Sounds
little strange.
the most awkward.
Yeah. So that's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. Is that she had to get off that boat. Like that's how aggressive. And the captain is saying like, and okay. I want to preface this by saying like he did write a book. There's motivations for him to have changed
Sure.
his story. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But when you hear him talk about it, it sounds like memories. And I understand he's had 30 years to work on this, so who knows?
Mhm.
But it
Sure.
sounds like he's telling the truth. And I'm sure that they could probably back up whether or not they stayed in a hotel.
That's true. Yeah.
But so he takes her back to the boat the next day and everything seems fine. Like they just tried to have you ever had a really awkward drunken night and then the next day you're just trying to act like, so this
is fine.
Past the scrambled eggs, and so things are okay. Tensions die down. And Robert, they go to the other side of the island where there is nothing really. Like where they stayed, where there was like hotels and all kinds of things. They go to the other side where there's just a restaurant. And Robert stays in his fishing, and Natalie and Walken go in and have happy hour at this hotel or bar. Yeah, at this restaurant. And they're drinking, lots and lots of wine. And they're having a good time. They're giggling. They're, enjoying each other's company. And he doesn't like it. So he tells everybody, RJ is like, everybody get back on the boat. Yeah. And at one point, they're continuing to drink and have a good time. RJ storms up, according to the boat captain, breaks a wine bottle against the table and yells at Walken, "What are you trying to do? Fuck my wife."
Jesus.
And this prompted
And I'm walking. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to find a different way back.
go. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna roll
I
off.
could swim.
I'm gonna roll off this boat. But this is what prompted the argument between Natalie and Wagner that night. So she storms off. She slams the door to her room. And then, according to the boat captain, Wagner follows down to confront her, setting off what he called an epic fight. And he claimed that he heard the dinghy being untied before Wagner returned, quote, tousled and sweating profusely. And that's at that point, it's where the other story picks off, where him and Wagner spend the rest of the night hanging out until 1:30 in the morning, when he's like, I think I'm going to go check on Natalie. Oh my God, can't find her. How weird. In 2009, he finally published his book, Goodbye Natalie, Goodbye Splendor. The boat captain did. And then 2 years later, he was among 700 plus people who signed a petition over the flawed investigation into Wood's death. And there's a whole other section of this story that you could go down about cover-ups, because there were people who were like, we were in the boat next to their boat and we heard a woman crying for help from like 11 to 11:20 that night, and we couldn't find her. And when we found out Natalie Wood had died, we tried to contact police and nobody got back to us ever. We got threats not to say anything about it. So they're saying that there might be this cover up in which the police were involved. So in 2009, the LA County Sheriff's Department So in 2011, the LA County Sheriff's Department reopened the case. And after the case was reopened, DeVerne stated publicly for the official record that he had lied to police the first time. That, like, he is like, I know I said that Robert Wagner didn't do anything, but he did. And this is all the stuff that he did. In 2012, the Los Angeles County Chief Coroner amended Wood's death certificate and changed the cause of her death from accidental drowning to drowning and other undetermined factors. The amended document included a statement that the circumstances are, quote, not clearly established concerning how Wood ended up in the water.
Yeah.
And on January 14th, 2013, the LA County Coroner's Office offered an amended autopsy report, basically being like, we don't know how she got all these bruises. And some of the bruises could be consistent with a physical fight before she was in the water. Like, we can't prove that, like, she sustained these hitting the boat or whatever.
Sure.
In February of 2018, Wagner was named a person of interest in the investigation into Wood's death, and he has denied any involvement. There is a theory, I think you were insinuating to Cassie, that Walken and Wagner were having a homosexual affair and that Natalie knew about it, and that is what got her killed. But there's no real evidence of this except for that kind of weird behavior that Walken would kind of stick around through all of this. And then there's the idea that that maybe his jealousy was partially Natalie and partially Walken. Like it was kind of both of those things, and that's what was making him so volatile. But there's no real proof of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and the other side too is that the other question I have about that is then why now would Natalie come like make something public at this point? I mean, why would he be worried about that? I mean, she caught her in the. She apparently caught him in the act.
But maybe she thought he was not going to engage in that anymore when they got remarried,
right? Well, because her mom said that he was quote unquote healed,
cured.
Yes.
And also, just infidelity was clearly a huge issue for her. So I think it wouldn't have mattered who it was, and maybe it was also a thing where like she was pissed, like the way that he'd been acting. She went and got a hotel. She was fucking pissed. So maybe in the heat of an argument, she said something, maybe even if it wasn't about Christopher Walken. The theory that her sister has is that he flew into a rage and it wasn't purposeful. And kind of the theory that I have is that maybe he flew into a rage, pushed her or something, knocked her out, and got so freaked out that like he'd killed her when she wasn't actually dead, and pushed her off like in the dinghy.
Yeah.
But for the record, Natasha Gregson, who legally changed her name to be Natasha Gregson Wagner, believes Robert Wagner completely. She doesn't think that he killed her mom. He was a huge part in her life, even after her mom passed away. So there's conflicting opinions.
Yeah.
And I mean,
And it's all
this
question
far
marks.
out,
You don't know.
Yeah, there's no way to definitively know. You know,
And
It's-
yeah.
I
any
think they got in a
evidence.
fight. He was like, I think she was like, I'm done with this. And he's like, fine, go back then. And untied the dinghy.
Could
And-
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was like, fine, go.
Could have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way to know. And like Christopher Walken, his story has changed very little over the last,
Well, he was sleeping,
however
right?
many years he was asleep. He was never a person of interest. And I truly don't think that he really knows like
No.
what happened.
But
Yeah,
the sleep that I sleep after 8 glasses of wine is
Sure.
one of eternal
Good night.
slumber.
Yeah,
Good
good
night.
night.
I don't hear dick.
I
so.
don't know. I think Robert Wagner was in. I think he knows way more than he's saying. Because also for him to completely clam up and not talk to the cops afterwards. Oh, I did. Did I say that? I don't think I said that.
Kind of.
Oh
but
yeah, he didn't.
You, well, you
didn't-
said he went back to the shore. Like he didn't talk to them. Like he.
he didn't give a statement
Yeah.
afterwards. When he went back to LA, he pieced out. He didn't talk to the cops at all. He got a lawyer.
It's like, you guys got this. All right, bye.
Yeah, he got a lawyer right away, lawyered up. The lawyer gave a statement and he didn't talk to the cops for a while.
But honestly, in his shoes, when you have something, let's say devil's advocate, she did slip and fall or
True.
whatever. You know what I mean? It's such a weird, suspicious thing that I don't blame.
Yeah, I don't
him
know that I
for-
wouldn't do the same thing.
Yeah, lawyer up. That's kind of what you have to do. And it sucks that makes you
No,
look
I always
guilty,
say,
but
I always say, get a
he
fucking
didn't go
lawyer.
to jail.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah. I
Oh,
don't know.
man.
I tend to think that
In the book of
he did
Keegan, I
something.
believe that's verse 23, right?
But you didn't go to jail. But did you go to jail?
No,
No, you didn't.
Always call a lawyer. Right?
Oh yeah, always call a lawyer.
Lawyer up.
I do truly believe in that. You do.
Yeah.
You should lawyer up. But it does. It's just with the other shit where you're just
Yeah.
like, God, this is
Yeah.
weird.
This is a
like,
lot.
Gosh, it's so layered. That's the thing. The story is there's never going to be a definitive answer.
And you have to
unless there's some
decide-
kind of
no
death
confession.
confession of
From
Robert
Wagner.
Wagner to
Yeah.
his
Because
daughter or whatever.
even
Their daughter.
even the captain is circumstantial. It's
Yeah.
like you heard things, you saw
You changed
behavior
your
that was
story, bro.
weird. Yeah,
So
Yeah.
it's
So-
hard.
it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Ew.
Wow. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love Natalie Wood.
Me too. Gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, what are we watching this week? You guys are watching Love is Blind,
Yeah.
which we
Watching Love is
discussed.
Blind.
I saw Bombshell last night.
Did you like it?
I liked it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. The only thing is at the end, spoiler alert, I mean, they all lost their jobs, so I wasn't
Yeah.
quite sure what the point of the movie was to empower people to speak up. I'm like, Gretchen Carlson lost her job, Megyn Kelly's not doing anything now, and all these other accusers are so I was just like, so
So the moral
wait,
of this story
what's
is
the moral
Well,
of the story?
I think
mean, it
unfortunately-
launched a movement.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately it's an example of there are gonna be some eggs that have to break in order
Yeah.
for people to do better, and it sucks, but maybe that's you. And
Yeah.
it was them. It was you guys have to take one for the team for us to make progress.
Well, yeah, and then launching the Me Too movement, which took down Harvey Weinstein this week.
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
God.
Was definitely important and much needed. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a good dude. I can watch Charlize Theron do
Ugh.
anything,
Yeah,
and it is
honestly.
uncanny how much she looked like
Yeah.
and sounded like
She
Megyn Kelly.
Is
She's
a mighty
incredible.
morphin power actress. That girl can be
Transform.
anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really watching anything else. I did start going to yoga this week.
Oh
So-
yeah, 6:30 a.m.
Happy about that. Feeling real sore, but it's good. It's good.
Dude, we are just models of fucking health over here. We're doing all the healthy
I'd say
things.
that.
Hey, 2020, what's up?
Well, if you've got stories, if you've got classes we should do at 6:30 a.m., if you want to buy some merch, join our Patreon, go to our one-stop shop of a website. That's myworstdatepodcast.com. We really need more stories. We need more likes and reviews. We need
We need more short stories, please.
Yeah, reach out and touch us. That would be great. And thank you so much for listening. We love you guys. Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media podcast.